Hey students, today we are going to study nutrition in animals. In this video, I'll explain complete the process of nutrition in animals. Before going to start that, let's see assignment questions, answers for them. Previous video I have given 3 assignment questions, answers for them. First question is mention the raw materials required for photosynthesis. If question asks for 1 mark, you no need to mention other sources for each and every raw material. Only the names of raw materials are enough. Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, chlorophyll. If the more than 1 mark, if they can ask the question, that time you have to mention from where carbon dioxide is getting by the plant. Plants get carbon dioxide from the environment or atmosphere through stomata. Number 2, water. Plants absorb water from the soil through roots and transport to leaves. Number 3, sunlight. Plants get sunlight from the sun. Number 4, chlorophyll. It is present in chloroplast, found in green leaves and green parts of plants. This is the answer for the first question. Number 2, how stomata help in photosynthesis? Stomata functions in gaseous exchange between the plant and atmosphere. Evaporation of water from the leaf surface occurs through the stomata. Thus, stomata help in process of transpiration. So, the main function of stomata is gaseous exchange and transpiration. These are the answers for the 2 questions. Next, third question will go to the write the 3 events that occur during photosynthesis. As you know, the photosynthesis process is nothing but carbon dioxide, water in presence of sunlight, and chlorophyll in presence of chlorophyll. It converts as glucose C6H12O6 plus releasing of oxygen gas. Here, in this complete photosynthesis process, what are the changes? What are the events are taking place? Those we have to write. Why every time I'm writing this equation? Because it's a very important equation. Under this autotrophic nutrition, photosynthesis equation is very important. From the equation itself, you can easily answer or define photosynthesis process. Let's see the events. First event is the absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is going to absorb light energy. After that, second one is conversion of light energy to chemical energy. This light energy is going to convert as a chemical energy, and that chemical energy is going to help to split water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. The final step is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. So this carbon dioxide is going to reduce as carbohydrates. These are the 3 events which occur in photosynthesis process. Let's see to the next one. The first video already we discussed about this one. As a nutrition is nothing but obtaining nutrients from the environment. 2 types of nutrition are there. Those are autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition already finished in the first video. Heterotrophic nutrition, saprophytic and parasitic, we don't have that much important for this chapter in this class. Then we have holozoic nutrition in this chapter. So holozoic nutrition we are going to study in detail. Let's see that. Nutrition in animals. That is the holozoic nutrition. What is meant by holozoic nutrition? The food what we are taking, no, that is in a complex manner. Organisms which takes food in the form of a complex organic matter. That type of nutrition is called as a holozoic nutrition. Let's define that properly. The complex organic matter in the form of solid food is ingested, digested, then absorbed and utilized. The complete process is called as a holozoic nutrition. For this holozoic nutrition, there are some steps which are involved from taking the food till utilizing the food. Okay, those are steps involved in holozoic nutrition. Number one is the ingestion. Number two, digestion, absorption, assimilation, digestion. Ingestion means intake of food in complex form. Digestion means breakdown of food into simple form. Absorption, passage of simple food into blood. Assimilation, utilization of absorbed food. Digestion, removal of undigested food. These are the 5 steps which are involved in holozoic nutrition. We'll see now. There are examples for holozoic nutrition are amoeba, paramecium, human beings we can take. Okay, very clearly we are going to understand nutrition in human beings. Let's see that. First, unicellular organisms like amoeba and paramecium, we will see how the nutrition in those unicellular organisms. After that, we'll move to human beings. In amoeba, as you know, amoeba is a unicellular organism. It is made up of a single cell. All the life process, all the functions are going to perform by a one cell. Here, nutrition, we will see how amoeba is going to take the food and utilize the food. Amoeba first, there is a, you know that it is an irregular shape, and the wherever the food particles are there, this membrane, the cell wall of that will get convert as the manner how they used to capture. So that is nothing but the pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is a food-like structure which is helpful to capture the food. Okay. Already have you remember that in the 9th standard you have studied about the endocytosis. What does mean that? Endocytosis is nothing but engulfing of food from surroundings or from outer environment. That is called as endocytosis. Generally, there we have given as a cell. Cell has a flexible cell membrane or plasma membrane that has a capacity to engulf the food from outer environment. That is called as a endocytosis. Even there we studied about example as amoeba only. Here also amoeba is engulfing or capturing the food. There is a specific name for that endocytosis, that is the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means a specific name for amoeba. Engulfing of food only or capturing of food only, but for the amoeba is a phagocytosis because of the pseudopodia is helping for that to capture the food. Once the food got captured into the cell, then that it reaches to the vacuole. Inside the vacuole, there are the digestive enzymes which can digest the food. After that, that digested food will get diffused into the body, means the cytoplasm. After that, that is going to utilize it for the different other life process like a reproduction, excretion. Those all the things are going to happen once our food got digested food got absorbed by the cytoplasm or absorbed by the body. Okay. After that, undigested food will get expel out from the body. Now you can see already we discussed the 5 steps are there in nutrition, holozoic nutrition. The first one is the ingestion. Same ingestion takes place in amoeba with the help of a pseudopodia. After that, in food vacuole, digestion takes place. After digestion takes place, there is a absorption and assimilation. After that, finally, digestion. Digestion takes place. These are the 5 steps what are involved in amoeba also. So it is a holozoic nutrition. Okay. In the same manner, paramecium also unicellular organism is also going to involve in the holozoic nutrition. Let's see how it will be. Instead of the pseudopodia, paramecium has cilia. Cilia are going to helpful to intake the food or capture the food. This cilia actually oral groove we can consider as a mouth for the paramecium. Through this mouth, the food will get enter into the body. Once it reach to the body, in the food vacuum, food get digested. After that, it will get diffused, means absorbed by the body and utilized. Some of the extra food also gets stored in the vacuole, some other vacuoles. Okay. After that, the undigested food, the waste materials are going to ejected by anal pore. It is an excretory part for the paramecium, anal pore. This is how nutrition in paramecium will be. Okay, let's move to the human being. How nutrition in human beings will be. Let's see. Nutrition in human beings, as you know, every day we are taking food and it is getting digested and we are what is that? We are getting the energy. Okay, without a food, we cannot get the energy. Then there is no energy, we cannot do any work. So, what is the main important for the nutrition? To get the energy for the different works. Now we'll see in human beings, nutrition takes place. Nutrition means all the five steps. All the five steps are nothing but ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and digestion. Those five steps takes place in a long tube. In a long tube, which is extended from mouth to anus. In this long tube, the complete nutrition takes place. This long tube got divided or it has included different parts. Those are mouth, buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. Okay. This long tube is called as a alimentary canal. Alimentary canal. Or you can take in some of the places you can see that digestive tract like that. Alimentary canal having these are the parts where the complete nutrition get over. First one is the mouth, buccal cavity or oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. In the diagram also you can see once. The same like your reader itself have given, once you can check it. All the parts from mouth to till the anus, complete extended a long tube structure is called as an alimentary canal. Okay, let's move one by one in detail how the food will get changed in each part of the alimentary canal. First, we'll see the mouth. Mouth is the first part of the alimentary canal. Here, what is the function of mouth? Intake of food. Food will get injected or taken by mouth. After that, once we take in, the buccal cavity is there. It's nothing but the hollow cavity inside our mouth. The hollow cavity is there. No? That is the buccal cavity or oral cavity. Inside the oral cavity, what all the things are there? We know teeth are the teeth, tongue, salivary glands. Okay. Teeth are helpful for chewing or grinding the food. Chewing and grinding the food because of the large molecular big particles of food we are taking, that we have to crush them. Then tongue, which is helpful for rolling the food and soften the food, and which used to push partially crushed food. The crushed food used to push down to the stomach. Okay, that is a function of a tongue. Then salivary glands. Salivary glands are nothing but the glands which are present on below of our tongue. Below of our tongue secrete saliva. Secrete saliva which contains salivary amylase. These all are present in the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. Okay, these all are available. What happens in a buccal cavity? How food gets changed? The main thing is a complex food. Complex food means the food will get breakdown. Food will get breakdown and grinding, no? Breakdown into your pieces. Into small pieces. After that, one more main function is there here, that is carbohydrates, carbohydrates. In our food, you know, already we studied those all the things, nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, those all the things will be in mouth. Carbohydrates will convert into sugars. In presence of salivary amylase, it is the one of the enzyme which has secreted by the salivary glands, which used to convert carbohydrates into sugars. Salivary amylase. It is helpful to convert carbohydrates into sugars. Now, what all the changes are took place here? Food got converted into small pieces and all the carbohydrates are converted into sugars. Now, this food is going to enter to the food pipe. That is nothing but oesophagus. Here in the diagram, just you can pause your video and look the diagram clearly, how the tongue and how the structure of this food pipe and windpipe got separated and all the things. Once you go through that, once you just to check there. Oesophagus or food pipe, both are same. Oesophagus or food pipe. This oesophagus taking food from mouth to stomach by peristaltic movements. Yes, a big pipe is there, no? Down there is a food pipe. Sorry, this is the food pipe. Okay, this is going to give food to the stomach. How the food can move from mouth or the buccal cavity to the stomach by a long pipe-like structure called as a oesophagus. How the food moves from top to bottom means from starting of the oesophagus to the ending of the oesophagus like a stomach. A oesophagus is made with a cartilaginous muscles which has capacity to contract and relax. Those muscles are helpful to push food down to the stomach. Okay, so those movements, rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles of oesophagus is nothing but peristaltic movements. Peristaltic movements. Contraction and relaxing of the muscles, relaxation of the muscles. Due to these movements, food used to enter to the stomach. And one more thing here, we remember that you can see in the diagram, next slide it is, yeah, you can here see the food got enter. Here it is the oesophagus, clearly you can see the pipe. Then here there is a one ring, one muscular ring will be. That muscular ring is called as a sphincter muscle. The name is not the cardiac sphincter muscle. That sphincter muscle is helpful to allow the food into the stomach and to prevent backflow of the food and the acid which is released in the stomach. No, that used to prevent. Okay, the function of the sphincter muscle is to allow food into the stomach and to prevent back movement of the food or the acid which released in a stomach. This sphincter muscle is called as a esophageal sphincter. Esophageal sphincter. Okay, now with the help of a esophagus and sphincter, food has reached into the stomach. Stomach is nothing but a sac-like structure where gastric glands are present. Those gastric glands produce gastric juices. Okay, now the gastric juice having HCl means the gastric juice contains HCl, pepsin and mucus. What are the function of these three substances? HCl is an acid which used to secreted by the gastric glands and nothing but the gastric juice. What is the function of HCl? The main one function is to kill the germs, like some microorganisms used to enter along with the food, no, that has to killed by HCl. Another function is it makes medium acidic. In our stomach, HCl make the complete stomach as an acidic medium. Because hydrochloric acid, it is an acid, no, by releasing of HCl, complete stomach becomes acidic medium. Why it has to convert as acidic medium? Because of to activate the function of pepsin. Pepsin is the one of the enzyme which used to digest proteins. To act pepsin on proteins, it has to maintain acidic medium. That's why the creation of acidic medium makes pepsin act on proteins to digest. If there is no acidic medium, pepsin cannot work. That's why to increase the activity of the pepsin, HCl is secreting. HCl is producing. After that, pepsin function already understood, no? Conversion of proteins means the digestion of a proteins. Next one is a mucus. Mucus is the nothing but a slimy or viscous fluid which used to protect walls of the stomach from the damage of acid. Acid, you know, right, which used to burn. This mucus is a slimy fluid which used to protect stomach walls by the damage of HCl secretion. Okay, that is a function of mucus. Then we'll move to some other digestive glands. Before that, you understood now what happens in the stomach. Gastric glands are there. They used to secrete the gastric juices which contains HCl, pepsin and mucus. All the functions already we discussed. Then we'll move to some other glands which are there around the stomach. You can see around the stomach there are the largest gland in our body. It is a liver. Liver is the largest gland. The second largest gland is a leaf-like structure. You can see it is a pancreas. It is a pancreas. These are the two glands present around the stomach. What is the use of these two glands? We'll see one by one. Digestive glands actually, which are going to help for the digestion. Digestive glands. The first one is the liver, which is the largest gland, which used to secrete bile juices. Here, bile juices don't have any enzymes to digest, but they make the bile juices make medium alkaline and emulsifies fats. Here, why the medium has to change as an alkaline medium? We discussed now itself that the food which is there in a stomach that is in an alkali acidic medium. It is the acidic medium. So the food which is going to enter from stomach to the small intestine, that will be in an acidic medium. Okay, this acidic medium has to change as an alkali medium. That is going to happen by secretion of bile juices. These bile juices are going to make the medium alkali and also emulsify fats. Means a fatty substances like whatever the food will take, in that there will be a fat. No, fat globules are little bigger one. These bigger fat globules used to convert into a small fat globules. Small fats it convert into a bigger particles to the smaller particles. That is nothing but the emulsification of fats. How the emulsification is taking place? By the bile juices. These are the two functions of the bile juices which are secreted by liver. Next gland is pancreas, which is the second largest and leaf-like structure which is present close to the stomach. Next, it secretes the pancreatic juices. These pancreatic juices have three enzymes. Those are trypsin, which used to digest proteins to amino acids. Number two, pancreatic amylase, digest complex carbohydrates to glucose. Lipase, which digests fats to fatty acids and glycerols. These are the three enzymes which are present in pancreatic juice. Remember, very important, the three enzymes and what are the function of them. Here you may understand the amylase. Already we discussed one amylase, that is the salivary amylase, which used to secreted by the salivary glands. But here this is also one amylase that secreted by pancreas. That's why it is a pancreatic amylase. Both amylase does the same work, that is carbohydrates digests. Okay, so these are the three enzymes which are produced by pancreas. Okay, remember. Now, here you try to understand this, all the enzymes are secreted by the pancreas and the liver, where these all the juices are going to work. These juices are not going to work in the liver or pancreas. Actually, they are produced, are secreted by the liver and pancreas. Here there will be a liver, and here there will be a pancreas. They are secreted here. Once they secreted from the liver, the bile juices transport to the gallbladder. There will be a small sac-like structure, gallbladder. I'll show that in the previous figure. Gallbladder, you can see. Yeah, here you can see this gallbladder. No, there is a gallbladder. The bile juices are enter after secretion by the liver. They'll store in gallbladder. Whenever there is a necessity of the gallbladder, gives that through the ducts. Okay, same the pancreas also producing and going to help. These all the juices are going to enter to the small intestine. Okay, small intestine. These all the juices are going to function. They are going to show their function in small intestine, not in liver, not in gallbladder, not in pancreas. They are going to act upon food in the small intestine. Let's see that. Small intestine is a tube-like structure, the coiled structure that has divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. These are the three parts. The complete small intestine got divided into duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Duodenum is a U-shaped structure where the complete digestion takes place. The complete digestion takes place in duodenum. For the complete digestion, it requires the digestive juices. What are they? Already we studied that bile juices and pancreatic juices. Bile juices, which used to make the medium. In this duodenum, the complete medium, it makes as an alkali, where the complete digestion takes place. No, there medium is going to convert into alkaline medium. This alkaline medium facilitate to activate the pancreatic juices. If there is no alkali medium, pancreatic juices cannot work. Like pepsin in the stomach, pepsin used to activate in presence of acidic medium. Like that, all the pancreatic juices activate in alkali medium. How the alkali medium is creating there? With the help of your bile juices. Now see how the function will be. The pancreatic juices contains the trypsin. In small intestine only we are discussing. In small intestine, what will happen? The trypsin is going to digest all the proteins into amino acids. Amino acids are the simple form of the proteins, completely digested. After that, amylase, pancreatic amylase, will convert all the carbohydrates into glucose. It is also simple form of carbohydrate. Lipase is going to digest all the fatty acids into glycerols. Finally digested. So complete digestion takes place in duodenum, or simply we can take in small intestine. Complete digestion takes place by the help of all these pancreatic juices. And one more is the small intestine has capacity to produce intestinal juices. Of course, the same, this all also present in the intestinal juices, which are going to digest all the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats into simple substances. Intestinal juices, pancreatic juices, gastric juices, all the juices are finally completed the digestion. All the substances, all the nutrients what we have taken are digested into simple form. Now, after the digestion, what is the next step? Absorption. The absorption takes place in ileum and jejunum. It is also the small intestine only. No, the walls of the small intestine contains a finger-like projection, which absorb the food. All the digested food will get absorbed by villi. That is a finger-like projection. These villi, you can see here picture all this like a finger-like projections. They have the capacity to expand and contract. Here they makes the surface area more. On the more surface area, all the food will get absorbed into that. And also villi is surrounded by number of blood cells. And a number of blood cells are means the test you can take as a all the blood vessels are surrounded by the villi. Due to that, a better absorption. As you know, villi used to give the absorb the food, and that absorbed food is taken by the blood throughout the body. Each and every cell is going to get blood. Blood means digested food. The useful food materials are going to get by the blood to each and every cell. Okay, and the walls will be the membrane of this villi is very thin to facilitate more absorption. If the membrane is very thick, absorption is not possible. That's why the membrane also epithelial tissue is very thin. This is about the villi. Villi is a finger-like projections which ensures absorption of food into blood. It surrounded a number of blood vessels which are enhance the transportation of food. And also membrane or epithelial tissue, epithelial lining is very thin. This is about the small intestine. Now food got digested and absorbed by the villi, means enter to the blood. After that, what will happen? Wherever the necessity is there it has to reach. We'll see the large intestine. After that, after digestion and absorption, and all the food got absorbed by the blood, and assimilation also takes place. Wherever the necessity is there, it has reached there, and function also taking place. After that, undigested food means the food which is not digested completely in a small intestine, that is going to reach to the large intestine. Here, large intestine is divided into colon, rectum, anus. Colon, you can see, this is the inverted U shape colon will be, and rectum, it is the final part of the alimentary canal, we can say, and the ejecting part is an anus. These are the three parts. In our large intestine, what will happen? Undigested food reaches to the large intestine, and here reabsorption of any useful materials and absorption of water takes place. Here also some amount of villi will be which used to absorb the water. Okay, water will get absorbed in large intestine. After that, finally undigested food get ejected by the anus. Okay, this is about the complete digestion and nutrition in human beings. Once we will see this, how the complete process. First one is a alimentary canal mouth. What will happen? There will be ingestion. The first step will be ingestion. Here to here, what happened? Partial digestion takes place. After that, there is no any change of the food, no digestion here, but here and here there is a partial digestion. Sorry, here also a little partial digestion. Here will be the complete digestion. So here, what is the second step? Digestion. After that, here absorption also takes place, as you know that absorption by villi. Then assimilation, of course, from here assimilation will be next. Large intestine also somewhat absorption of water and some useful materials. Then finally digestion takes place. Okay, so first step, second step, third step, fourth step and fifth step. Complete from starting to ending means the complete alimentary canal is working for complete nutrition, like from ingestion to the digestion. This is the overall picture of alimentary canal and how all the processes are taking place. Okay, remember this. This is about the nutrition in human beings. And here already I told the sphincter muscle. That sphincter muscle not only present in only the stomach and small intestine, small intestine to large intestine also there will be a sphincter muscle. Here you can see the sphincter muscle. Same it will be at the end of the stomach and where the entry of the small intestine. In the same manner, from the small intestine to the large intestine, there will be a sphincter muscle. Okay. Here, digestive enzymes and their functions. You can see here in a table column I have given clearly all the digestive enzymes where it's all are working and how the conversion will be. One more time you go through this table, which is helpful for you to write complete process in very short. Okay, have a look and take screenshot for this picture. This table is very helpful. Let's move to the activity 6.3 regarding the nutrition in human beings. Means holozoic nutrition. We have only one activity, that is a 6.3 that we will see once. Here that 6.3 is nothing but we are going to prove salivary amylase convert complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. That is only going to prove. For that, what are the things we need? Once you go through the reader, full the procedure is there. Here I am going to explain what happening, what are the observations. Listen, here we have to take two beakers, both beakers which are having starch solution. In both beakers, we have to take starch solution. Beaker 1, beaker 2. To this starch solution, beaker 1, keep it like that. To the beaker 2, we have to add some saliva. We have to add some saliva. To this saliva we have to put in the second beaker. Okay, after that, we have to add iodine solution. Iodine solution, you know, it is the solution or indicator which used to convert starch into blue-black color. Wherever the starch is there, it used to react and gives blue-black color. Okay, so here we are adding the same iodine solution to the both the beakers. Before going to add, we have to keep half an hour at least. We have to give time half an hour at least once we add saliva to the starch solution. Why we have to give half an hour time? Because of the saliva contains the salivary amylase that has to react, means break down this starch into simple sugars. For that, we have to give some time. Once we add the iodine solution, both the beaker first turns as a blue-black color. After some time, the second beaker solution turns colorless, means like a fade faded the color. Like first how the starch solution looks like, in the same color it comes. But the first beaker, it looks like black in color only, blue black color only, because starch is as a starch only. In the second beaker, starch has converted into sugars. Sugars will not give iodine test, means the blue black color it will not give. By that experiment, we come to know salivary amylase used to break down the carbohydrates into sugars. Here, this is the picture, easily you can understand it. This is the complex sugar, a complex starch, which has a many, if you take each one as a one molecule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 molecules it has. These 6 molecules are going to convert as a two molecules of disaccharides. Actually, it is a polysaccharide. Many units are there converted as a disaccharides. So complex form to simple form. This is happening in the test in the second beaker. That's why there is no color. From this activity, what we come to know? Saliva, which has salivary amylase, break down starch into sugars. This is about the activity 6.3. Let's move to the question and answers in page number 101. What are the differences between the autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? Here, autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, once just you go through the questions, I think already we covered all the procedure, and here we have only for that, what is that? Only the differences, easily you can write it. In presence of sunlight it requires, and carbon dioxide will get utilized, and here the releasing of the carbon dioxide, those all the things. Okay, once you go through that, take a screenshot for all the questions. The second question is, where do plants get each of the material? Each of the, one second, here is much. This question already we discussed. Where do plants get each of the raw materials required for photosynthesis? Here, you have to write the source of each and every raw material. Carbon dioxide, like atmosphere, water from the soil, sunlight from the sun, chlorophyll from the leaves. Okay. After that, third one is, what is the role of the acid in your stomach? Yes, is it makes the medium acidic, which used to activate the enzyme pepsin and to kill the bacteria which the food may contain. Okay. Next one. What is the function of digestive enzymes? Yes, they used to break down the complex molecule into smaller or simple molecules so that we can easily absorb them and utilize for get the energy. Then fifth one, how is the small intestine digested to absorb digested food? The small intestine is digested to provide maximum area for absorption of digested food, and it's transferred into the blood for its circulation into the body. For this, the inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections called villi. The villi are richly supplied with the blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body. This is about clearly you can write about villi. Okay. If one mark is there, you no need to write this much big one. Simply you can write about the villi. Villi is helpful for the absorption of the food. Next, these all are the 101 page. What all the NCERT questions you have, all the answers are here. Note it down. Let's see some of the assignment questions I have given here. You note it and try to answer for them. If you are not getting answers, in the next video, I'll give answers for this all the 5 questions. First question is, while eating, you are advised not to talk. Why you are advised so? Number 2, what is villi? Give its function. Number 3, if you chew chapati for a long, after some time, it tastes sweet. Why is this so? Number 4, state the role of liver and pancreas. Number 5, name the organ which performs the following functions in humans. The first one is absorption of digested food. Number 2, absorption of water. These are the 5 questions. What you have to write it down and solve them. Okay, dear. All of you note all the questions and try to answer. Please subscribe and encourage us to do more videos on this.